Hey everybody, you're watching Sidestep Adventures, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. We are at historic Linwood Cemetery here in Columbus, Georgia. This cemetery dates back to 1828 and was on the original city plan for Columbus, Georgia. And the reason I'm out here today is I'm out here with my friend JD from the History Underground. I've been showing him around a little bit today and spewing some knowledge that I really don't have for one of his videos. So be sure to go to his channel, check out this upcoming video. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's going to be a good one. But while he comes out here and does a little bit of filming, I'm just going to kind of wander around and let you guys see some of Linwood Cemetery. It's a very interesting cemetery and there's some pretty unique markers. I'm probably not going to read a lot of the graves out here just because we don't have a lot of time. I'm just doing this to kill some time while he does his video, but I thought you guys might want to see it. Brian, on his channel, Down the Road with Brian Mallard, he actually did a video series of this cemetery, so y'all be sure to go and check that one out. This is Hudson A. Thornton, born June 14th, 1800, died April 16th, 1859. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. This is kind of an interesting one right here in this corner. Almost looks like it gets driven on with this driveway here. In memory of Jacob, in memory of Jacob Truman Hogue Thomas Truman, died March 26, 1828, in the 20th year, buried near this spot, a chain bearer helping his father, Edward Lloyd Thomas, plan and survey the town of Columbus. Wow, so he was one of the original pioneers out here. That's amazing. And I guess this is a newer replacement stone. It looks newer, but that's pretty amazing. Look at the shells on top of these two graves. Wonder how long ago it was that somebody placed those. There's another doctor right here. Alfonso C. Kilvin, MD. Born November 6, 1832, and died April 15, 1861. This is in memory of Mrs. Sophia H. Shorter, who died 13th April 1856, aged 58 years. For 20 years, years full of happiness, she lived the fond and loving wife of him by whose side she here reposes. Death took the husband from her, and for 20 years, years full of sorrow, she lived and mourned him as a widow. Says on the side there, mother. Erected as a tribute of love by his family to the memory of Eli S. Shorter, who departed this life December 13th, 1836, in the 44th year of his age. The eminent distinction of Judge Shorter was founded in the happiest union of the social kindly and intellectual elements of character, profound and distinguished, as a jurist, ardent, as a friend, just and kind, as a citizen, his name will be long revered. in the great circle of his acquaintance and his memory, be forever embalmed in the hearts of his bereaved family. When this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So I wanted to walk over here and take a look at this one with the statue on top. It's Phillips Rivers, a devoted husband and wife. It says Mrs. Cornelia C. Borders, born August 1824 and died August 1874, our mother. Looks like General P.J. Phillips, born July 3rd, 1819, died October 12th, 1876. Mrs. L.E. Rivers, wife of General P.J. Phillips, died October 22nd, 1888, aged 73.
Yeah, like take a look at this person right here. Born 1908, died 1988. So like legitimately, whenever that person was born, they were most likely still riding horses.
Right.
Or in the very early stages of the automobile. And she lived and saw the space program and the moon landing and really the start of the computer age. It's kind of cool to see, I don't know, kind of look at these graves and think about, you know, what that individual saw in their lifetime.
Absolutely.
Even though nobody knows Annie Edwards, except for maybe some of her, you know, distant relatives or something, we can kind of get an idea of what their life was like.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, something that I've said frequently is coming out to these places and you see all of these names and they're just names, but everyone is a life story out here.
Everybody has a story.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, here's definitely somebody who would have been born during Horse and Buggy and then saw the launch of Sputnik 65. That would have been the early part of the US space program. So what, Margaret Howard?
Born 1885 and died 1965.
Yeah, lived through 2 world wars. Korean War, and really the start of the Vietnam War. That lady saw a lot. Had some stories to tell, I'm sure.
Something we don't see very often, mausoleums. Pretty impressive.
This is something that we don't ever see around home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't have any. Would you call this a crypt? Is that?
Yeah,
What would you call it?
I would call it a crypt. And it's actually kind of interesting that you say that, because I get a lot of comments that point out the graves that I film are not the graves that people see in their,
Yeah.
you know, home area. And I guess the crypt, because we have a lot of like false crypts like those over there. That's kind of an example of a false crypt.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
And the burials are actually underground, but it's generally speaking just a raised platform. And now with this, it's kind of hard to say if this is a below ground burial or if they are entombed in this structure, but or just under
Better
it.
hope a tree never falls on it. Look at the cracks in here. I mean,
Yep.
how awful would it be if I knocked on that thing and it collapsed?
Right. For sure.
We'd have to delete that video.
Yeah. So I've never actually really been out here. I mean, I've driven through Linwood, but I've never really walked around. And yeah, for one, I've never filmed it because it's a huge cemetery, and it's not, you know, the abandoned cemeteries that I usually film. But it's pretty neat walking around here now.
Very much. Feels old.
Yes. Cody pointed it out over there. There's a grave that is kind of at a corner. It says buried near this spot, died in 1828. One of the people that helped survey Columbus.
Really?
Yeah. And he died 1828. That's when Columbus is like founded. Maybe 1827 people started living here, but 1828 I think was when Columbus was founded. So
wow.
He was definitely a very, very early, what's the word? Frontiersman,
yeah.
pioneer settler. That's
one of
it.
the forerunners.
Yes.
Of the Columbus community.
And you know what's interesting is Columbus, we're at right now, that was it was a frontier town.
Yeah.
When it was created, you know, this was about as far west as we were getting down here in the South. You know, Alabama was still, it was Native American territory back then. And it's apparently a wild town too.
Yeah. They obviously didn't settle it in the summer.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Or else they would have turned back and went north.
I tell you, I read something really interesting. Actually, where we were on his video, which you guys will have to watch to see the area, I've got a book that's the history of Columbus from 1828 to Reconstruction.
Okay.
And it's very detailed and talks about that area by the river where we were used to be like a green marshy area with springs coming out of the side of the river bank, and it was apparently kind of pleasant, but definitely changed a lot now. Here's another crypt or mausoleum. Look at this. Is that a tree? Or is it, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the size of that tree. Or well, the size of the stump of what would have been a tree. Step up on there and kind of get an idea of just how big that is.
Wow. I wonder when this was cut down.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you were to count these rings, I mean, depending on whenever it came down, I mean, you might be looking at like this might be like Columbus himself. Right here.
For sure.
You know, who knows what this tree saw. Wow.
Yeah, that is a huge tree, or was a huge tree.
That's gotta be, okay, I'm about 5'11". Here, can you hold this for a second? We'll go ahead and just do an impromptu measurement. Okay, I'm 5'10" or 5'11", depending on what gas station I'm leaving. So we laid down. How much is left?
Well, maybe 3 inches, not a whole lot.
So it's over, I mean, at its narrowest point, over 6 foot across.
Yeah. Man, that's
wow.
Crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a living tree that's that big.
I think there's one in Huntsville.
Oh, really?
that is that big. It's
Yeah.
called Lucy's Oak.
Oh, really?
I didn't go there, but I've read about it. Huh. Probably look like a moron laying out on that stump.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of historic Linwood Cemetery here in Columbus. There's some pretty interesting graves. Let me know if you want me to come back out here and maybe walk around a little bit more. It's pretty fascinating. Like I said, I've never really come out here and walked around. I've driven through it a few times, but I saw some stuff that I thought was cool today. And of course, big thanks to JD for joining with me down here in hot Columbus, Georgia today. Be sure to subscribe to his channel, History Underground. He's got some great stuff. Plus, you're going to see this cool video that we shot today. So,
yeah.
Anything?
I'm going to request that you go to the Confederate section of the cemetery. Do a video there.
All right. Well, I'll have to do that next time when it's cooler in the winter. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. We'll see you on the next video.